for joining us this evening. I would like to start out by trying to understand what it was that inspired you to do this work, the documentary movie, Dark Girls.
Well, the first thing, thank you for having me on, and I appreciate you just reaching out and being a part of the supportive and love circle that surrounds Dark Girls. The reason for doing and how it started off with my film partner, actor and co-director Bill Duke. Bill had a concept. He was driving in L.A., and he called me at home. He says, "Man, listen, I want to run something past you." He says, "Well, what about doing a documentary on dark-skinned women?" And as soon as he said it, I said, "Dude, I'm in. I'm all the way in with this." And he started laughing because we both knew exactly what this thing was going to be about. We happened to be two dark-skinned men who were two dark-skinned little boys who were talked about and ridiculed. Him growing up, Bill growing up in Poughkeepsie, New York, and me growing up in East Orange, New Jersey. And having people talk about you, it's like, wow, isn't he really dark? And how come he's so dark and other kids wouldn't play with you and girls wouldn't date you because you were so dark? So when it came to doing the documentary on dark-skinned girls, Bill and I had an emotional investment in this already, and we understood from an emotional standpoint and from a self-esteem standpoint what this all meant, and that's how it began.
Wonderful, wonderful. Was it one of your goals to set a new standard in documenting the psychological effects of societal negativity for the darker-skinned American black in Western society?
I don't know if it was our intention to set a new goal, but, we're just two filmmakers. We're not psychologists or psychiatrists. We're just two filmmakers who said something, who had an emotional reaction to something and decided to put a lens to it and have these women just tell their personal stories of pain and glory about being a dark-skinned person. And then we decided to call friends up who were psychiatrists and psychologists to include them in this, to give their professional points of view about the plight of our people and our women in terms of shadism and colorism.
Right. Right. Well, we do absolutely appreciate this being a topic that brings to the forefront an age-old and otherwise hidden dynamic amongst African Americans. How were you able to bring together such a wonderful array of women who were willing to share their experience with us?
Oh, that was easy. I teased Bill. I said, we use the MCI plan, friends and family. We just called friends and family up and said, listen, do you know a person so-and-so and so-and-so, and that person turned on to another person, that person turned on another person. So it was easy. And it was interesting that so many women wanted to speak. They wanted to talk about their stories.
Right.
And so we went around the country and captured on film the story of these women of being dark-skinned. And it's not only women that are African Americans, but we talk to all women who have color. And we talked to some women who were Caucasian to get their point of view. And it became a very, very interesting study.
Right.
Very interesting study.
I was actually going to ask you that next, that there were so many varying points of view, and in particular the Caucasian perspective was touched upon. What was the reason for having their ideas be a part of this movie?
I think Michael Collier, comedian Michael Collier, said it best in the movie. Everybody wants to be black except for black people.
Right.
I think we don't love ourselves and how we look.
Right.
And that to me, you're questioning God's purpose.
Right.
And where's your faith when you do that?
Right. It is upside down. It's very true. And they do things to darken themselves and this kind of thing. And we are coming.
We do things to lighten ourselves.
To lighten ourselves. That's what I was getting at. It is the dichotomy is very interesting. So how was would you say that the historical perspective, our history here in this country, and that conditioning and mindset, how was that considered during the filming of Dark Girls?
Well, you know, it had to start someplace.
Right.
It just didn't start with the media broadcasting, labeling us as who we are and not to be a part of the mainstream. It didn't start there. It started way, way back when we started looking different.
Right.
When slavery and rape of our women, and then everything that was close to white was right, and everything was close to black or blacker was bad and evil.
Right.
And it started there. It starts there, and it didn't seem to be a problem on the continent.
Mm-hmm.
So, until slaves were traded all over the world, and things became a thing of color, not class, but color for us.
Right. Right. Well, in your opinion, what would you say to the women of the women's song community? What would you give as ways in which we can begin to address the issues of self-esteem as it relates to the color of our skin?
I think the first place to start is in the home. I think that mothers need to really express their love for their daughters. And I think that to tell them that they're beautiful regardless of their skin, regardless of how narrow or how thick their lips and nose are. They're beautiful with that, the way that they are. And more importantly is for men, not boys, but men who are fathers, to tell their daughters that they are beautiful as they are. Because I think one of the issues with young teens and women, some women who are older now, is that their fathers did not tell them how beautiful they were and didn't help build their self-esteem. And this could be one of the issues why certain women are making the choices in men that they are making that is not good for them or healthy for them. So,
okay.
I don't know if I answered the question, but...
You did, absolutely.
Okay.
And I think that one of the things that I'd also like to know is when will this documentary movie, Dark Girls, be available for everyone?
In which medium are you speaking of? You're talking about theatrically or television-wise? Oh. Well, what we're doing is that we're going on a 17-city tour. Bill Duke and I are going on a 17-city tour around the country, and we're going to have... you know what? This is what we found out, and this is what God is so good. This is not just a film. This is an event. This is a movement. This is a movement. And that we decided to take the film, because Hollywood doesn't understand this, and it's fine. They don't get it because it's not made for them. That we're going to take this on tour to all the major cities where there are people of color, and have these huge screenings, and then have dialogue with the audience. Because once you see this film, you have to talk about it, and I think you need to talk about it right then and there. And then the conversation will stem, from that theater to the car to home to telephone calls and passing a word and Facebook and all that kind of stuff. But this is a great way to start the healing process also.
Correct.
By having this dialogue, by having this film out, period.
Right. So are you, I understand there is a 9-minute preview that's been released online that has already sparked tremendous conversations.
Yes.
And so what I wanted to know is I came across a project that you all were doing with an internet company to help fund the project. Is that still active so that people can help with this project?
We are still taking donations to we've got many bills with this and many people that we have to pay off in terms of our editors and our camera people all took deferred payments on this, and we love them so much. I mean, our line producer Cheryl Bedford and our camera people across the country, and our editors Brandon French and Steve Hall, they all took deferred payments. And the money a lot of the money came from out of Bill and I's pocket, but we also needed funding from the community, and they stepped in. So now we've got to pay those people, and then we're going to start the next movie, shooting the next part 2 of Dark Girls.
Awesome. Okay, and that was the internet program that is helping with the campaign is Indiegogo.
Yes.
So you go to Indiegogo.com, and I'll also...
I'm sorry to cut you off, but actually you can go to officialdarkgirlsmovie.com, our webpage, and do it there.
Wonderful. That's even better. Okay, so
official Dark Girls Movie.
Darkgirlsmovie.com. Wonderful.
Yeah.
And there's a donate button there so that you can give money to this project, a much-needed project. I have just a couple of quick questions, if you have a few minutes.
Sure.
Okay. Sure. Wanted to ask you about the women that you talked with. Were they able to get into issues of shadism in hiring practices and within the family relationships? I noticed on the preview that one of the young ladies talked about how her mother spoke so freely of how beautiful she was, and then she punctuated that with, wouldn't she be, all the more beautiful if she were light? And I'm asking that in light of the comment that you made about our families being responsible to our children to let them know of their beauty. And I'm wondering if these things are covered in the movie, that oftentimes we tell the parents, tell your children that they're beautiful, but I don't know if they really believe it.
Right. We do touch on that aspect in the movie. We don't touch on the work or the corporate thing as much as we could have. But I know for sure that the job situation will be touched on in part 2, the yellow brick road, when we start talking to sisters who are light-skinned in complexion and telling their stories.
Oh, wow. That's going to be nice. Wonderful.
And actually, to be honest with you, the yellow brick road is actually much more deeper than Dark Skin, than Dark Girls. The movie Dark
Really?
Girls. It's really I don't know how it could be, but it's turning out to be just as compelling, or maybe even more compelling, with the light-skinned sisters telling their stories. It's really deep.
I cannot wait. I have heard some of the lighter-skinned women speak about not being white enough and not being black enough, and kind of in a limbo, so to speak. So I am very eager to hear more about that. Okay, so for Dark Girls, you're on a 17-city tour. Where are you going to be next?
Wow. Antigua.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where we go next. And then from Antigua, we go to Oakland, California on November 17th. And then we go from Oakland to Atlanta, Georgia on November 19th.
Okay.
And then we go from Atlanta to Washington, D.C. for the 21st and 22nd of November. And then it goes on and goes on and goes on from there.
Wonderful, wonderful. I am so, so honored that you took the time to share with us such an important work. And I want to thank you for taking the time and signing on to do something like this to help our community, in particular our women who are in dire need of repair. And this, I believe, will be an instrument to work toward that purpose. So
well, thank you
so much, Chan. And hopefully when it's time for the Yellow Brick Road, that you'll come back on and share with us again about that body of work as well.
We will. We shall do that. And thank you.
Or any closing words that you'd like to share?
I personally do this project, Dark Girls and Yellow Brick Road, because I love my women. I just love my women. And I'll just say this. I'll just end with this. I think we men have done a lot of damage. And we've done a lot of damage to the two things that present us life, and that is the earth and women. And I think this is a way of saying thank you and I'm sorry at the same time, but until women and the earth are healed, men will not be healed.
Wow. That was profound. Thank you for saying that. And I will receive that, and I know that the women listening will receive that.
We do it in love.
Right, in love and in healing, because that is so important. Thank you so much again, and blessings to you and to Mr. Duke and all of the people who have worked to make this project a reality for us. Thank you so much.